What's going on, Sens fans? Welcome back to another post-game coverage, and today is a really exciting day because we just beat the Leafs again, and it's always an exciting day when you beat the Leafs. The last 5 minutes got a little hectic there. They had the goalie pulled with 4.5 minutes to go, but the Sens held off, and they played a great game from start to finish. So,
yeah, they really did. That was great 40 minutes, and they were kind of sitting back on their heels in the third, which you would expect with that kind of lead. And then, they mentioned it on the broadcast, but with a team like the Leafs, it only takes a couple. And man, that nail biting right to the end. But they held on, and good for Joey Daccord getting his first career win. That's huge for him. Unexpected start with Murray going down in warm up, but they're not even going down, just kind of having an injury, I guess. But yeah, that was a fun game to watch. I agree. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, it was quite a busy game even before it started. So yeah. Kevin Mandelay's got the call about a minute before puck drop and said, "Get to the rink and get ready. You're going on the bench."
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was I don't know what happened with Matt Murray. I think he's listed as an upper body injury.
Interesting.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But then we were also kind of surprised to see Colin White step on the ice after what happened the other night. He took quite the fall, and I thought he had a broken ankle at least.
Yeah, I thought he broke his ankle. I thought it was maybe his hamstring or something was torn. But yeah, him and his ankle both a little lucky there. Didn't have anything too serious in terms of injuries, so that's a bonus. But yeah, I mean, man, it's hard. I was ready to this was going to be a great great to talk about and just a dominant game by them, but the ending kind of shakes you a little bit.
Yeah, really though.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it was such a consistent game. Like Ottawa just dominated that whole game up until I want to say the last 10 minutes when they got that goal that was waved off that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was kind of the momentum changer. But for the first 50 minutes, it was all Ottawa's game.
Well, we'll start with the beginning with the two fastest goals in Senators history, apparently, which is 7 seconds apart. So, Tkachuk just doing what he does. I don't know how many goals he has this year that are not like that. He just finds a way all the time. And one that Hutchison should have had again, and then 7 seconds later, the same thing happens. And that one, I don't know what happened there, but that's one that Hutchison will want back as well. And he gets pulled right away. And, as a Sens fan, we've seen that where it's the first couple shots are going in and the goalie can't stop anything. So,
yeah, we've had our fair share of it. So,
yeah. And it's crazy being on the other end of it, kind of, where you can see how deflating it is for a team like the Leafs, right? And man, great start in a game where they needed to bounce back after that Edmonton road trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Sens had something to prove coming into this game, and so did the Leafs. Like they've won one of their last 6 games. That's not good enough for the Leafs. And I mean, Ottawa's in the same boat, but look at the expectations difference and look at the talent difference.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all playing the same team, so
yeah, I think the expectations is the biggest part of it. And they did a cool thing. I think I don't know if it was in the intermission, which one it was, but they did a cool thing where they showed the standings a week ago and now today and how close it is. With the Leafs losing so much, like they looked like they were gonna run away with the division, and then all of a sudden they lose their 6th game or 5th game in the last 6 games or something like that. It's pretty weird to see how quick it can change and stuff. So just goes to show. I think it's gonna be fun watching Ottawa down the stretch here because they're gonna steal a lot of games from teams.
Like this is a game that coming into it, Ottawa had no business winning. Like I think everybody kind of had a feeling like, oh yeah, we're missing a couple of guys, and now everything's going wrong in the warm up and everything, and we lose Matt Murray, and yeah, oh well, they put up a good fight so far, but yeah, they came back and they just played an excellent game.
We got to talk about this team's home record. I don't know what the actual record is at home.
I can find it here real quick.
But it's definitely a majority of their wins. I think they're 4-14 on the road or something like that. Just not good.
It's something terrible.
But they're it was last year too. They're a decent team at home, and I don't know what it is about it specifically. It's just how bad they are on the road, and it seems like they're a really close team. Like they get along well, and usually with teams like that, they're better on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like. Sorry, they have 10. I think of 10 of their next 26 games. It was something Kachuk said at the end of the last game that they have a majority of their games remaining at home. So it'll be good to see. And yeah.
Yeah, and so far this season, they're 6-6-1 at home, so 500 record, and then 4-14-0 on the road.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. It's just glaring difference, and I think the West Coast trips have been tough to them. They've got to win a couple wins in the Bell Center, and then the win with in Toronto, obviously. So it's more of a West Coast thing, I think. But yeah, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked. It's just strange looking at those patterns, and it's something to look at going forward with DJ Smith, because it's a completely different team this year, pretty much, and it's the same story, and it's not fans, right? There's no fans in the stands. But yeah, we got to talk about Dzingel too.
Yeah, so 7 seconds later, after Kachuk scores a very Kachuk goal, it slides down the ice and somehow gets through Hutchinson, and almost the identical goal 7 seconds later by Dzingel, just from the opposite wing.
Yeah, he just looks like the same player, and we've been saying this, right? He just looks like the guy who we traded away, and he's right back in this spot. And that left wing depth right now is so good.
Yeah, it really is.
And we've been saying this too. You look at the forward depth, and the forwards are definitely not the problem on this team. Like, the offense is clicking every now and then, and people are getting chemistry together, and that power play too.
Yeah. We
might as well just move on to the second, because oh boy, Tim Stützle put on a show, or on a clinic.
We have a comment here from Jeremiah, who we've had as a guest quite a few times. You like Jimmy and Batherson on their strong side.
Yeah. So this is a quote that I've said a lot. I didn't mind them there because it was Batherson making the plays and stuff. And in Edmonton, we saw that them on their on their off wing, on the power play, can still work for the playmaking. It was kind of the first example we'd seen of that, and it worked to a T. We didn't have our post game show on the last one where Stützle made that pass to Kachuk in front on the power play. It's a beautiful play. So, hey, maybe Stützle is better over there. It's working so far. So, and I think it's a good thing that they're able to do whichever one. Like, they can set up the power play whichever way they want. They can have either of them flip. So
it's almost like in baseball when you can have a pitcher that is ambidextrous and can throw both ways.
Exactly.
You can just kind of throw anything at them, because you're gonna have either Kachuk or Dadonov down on the bumper, and you have them either on their strong sides or off wings, and so you don't know what to expect until they're on the ice.
Yeah, and I think it's and that, all the positioning aside, that pass by Stützle, that's just a play where you're thinking ahead of everyone else on the ice. No one knew it was coming. Thank God that Batherson did. He was ready for it. Boy, that was something special to watch, and I can't wait. And I think so. Right before actually Batherson got both of his goals, which were also a minute apart. The broadcast was mentioning, talking about Matthews and Marner and Draisaitl and McDavid as these high power duos, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking Batherson and Stützle, that's the potential is there to have that same kind of effect. Yeah, because they can both shoot the puck and they can both make plays. So it's kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see it unfold. I hope they just stick together for the longest time.
Yeah, because they make and even if you put Stützle at center, that could almost even open up more options for that offense, and add in they're playing with Tierney. Don't forget that. It on the power play, they're doing magic with the lineup that's out there. But throughout the game, they play with Tierney, and not a knock to Tierney. I think he's had one of his better games that he's had in a while. He looked actually kind of speedy tonight, but you just got to put some offense between them. And it's hard because you want to keep Norris with Tkachuk and you want to keep White with Paul and Dadonov because they've been working to a pretty good extent. So, like, you almost have to trade for somebody just to even fit. So,
yeah, I would eventually, if we see Stützle in the middle, and we saw it a couple games ago, you get Tkachuk, Stützle, and Batherson all together. I think that's a line moving forward. That's just, if you keep them playing together, we'll just grow. And I just get a vibe like of a Alfredson, Spezza, and Heatley kind of thing.
Yeah,
where it's just like it could be so dominant. Just they all bring a different element. Tkachuk is just going to do the gritty work. But then the problem becomes you got to fill out the rest of the lineup, but that's a problem for the future, I think. So right now it's just fun to watch them. And I mean, Stützle and Batherson didn't end up playing a ton.
Yeah.
Just over 15 minutes for both of them. But, you know, the third period was kind of a defensive game, and just great stuff from all of them.
Yeah. And like, so the way I look at it, I actually disagree. I think I would like to see Tkachuk and Norris stay together, and if Dadonov can get his offensive touch back, put him up on that line, and then I don't know if I'm all team Stützle at center yet. It's been a while, and he's got to lean into it. But I do think that Dzingel, Stützle, and Batherson could make a wicked line, and the future for Dzingel here is kind of up in the air right now. He's proven a case that he should stick around. But even if Dzingel moves on, I could see Formanton slotting in there really nice.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pieces, obviously, but you got to wait until they come on up. And it's nice to think in the future, like, oh, you know, a prospect, just slide him here. Like, how great is the idea of Pinto just playing between those two, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you got to think, like, this year for Stützle and Batherson to an extent, there's been a lot of growing pains, right? There's been, you know, Stützle didn't play great recently anyways. And it's going to take some time just to be able to acclimate yourself to the NHL game, pretty much like the pro game, like for all those college guys, they haven't played pro hockey before. So I think it's a nice idea, but you got to think that next season for Pinto is going to be what this season was for Stützle. If that, like, maybe he'll be in the AHL, we don't know. So it'll be, you have to be patient, but at the same time, there's, you know, like you said, Stützle and Batherson are learning from Tierney, whereas if Pinto's coming up, he'll be learning from guys like Tkachuk and stuff. So I don't know. It's fun to think about. There's a lot of great prospects in the system, a lot of great prospects playing. Yeah,
and like you said, we don't know what the situation is for all these guys in college right now. I mean, Pinto is only 20, so everybody's looking at him like he's like our savior and everything, which I'm on board for that. Like, I think Pinto's going to make a huge impact on this team, but he's only 20. Like, I get the Stützle's only 19, but Stützle was just drafted 3rd overall after winning Forward of the Year at the Forward of the Tournament for the World Juniors. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think the progress of Josh Norris has really helped too. I think he's solidified himself as a great two-way forward. I don't know if you saw, but J Fresh Hockey, just big analytics, and I was kind of quote tweeting a lot of that today, and they put out I'm gonna misquote it, but it was like the win shares for forward, like defensively for forwards or something.
Yeah,
along those lines, like basically the best defensive forwards analytically to like win share wise. Josh Norris was like 2nd from the top as a rookie, and this is like the whole league, not just rookies. So that's awesome for him. And I want to kind of switch over to face-offs right now.
Yep.
Because it did feel like Toronto dominated.
Not at all.
Right? Which is strange.
Yep. I give a round of applause to every person that took a face-off tonight.
Now, I will say,
except for Brady Tkachuk or Clark Bishop.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got a couple of 0%. Yeah. Maybe that's where some of them are. Yep. But I think if we saw a zone chart, like I swear the Leafs won every offensive zone face-off.
Yeah.
That's probably why it felt that way. That's overall like one of the better nights for sure.
Yeah, it is. And like, so we have Josh Norris, 9 for 15 at 60%. Colin White, 5 for 10, 50%. Stützle, 100%, only took the one draw, though. Mm-hmm. Chris Tierney, 4 for 9, which just under 50%. And Nick Paul at 63%.
So, of all of those, Josh Norris took the most faceoffs tonight.
Yeah.
Again,
and was at 60%.
On home ice. So the coach is putting trust in a rookie, and I think that's a good sign for Norris moving forward as a two-way guy. Like he's going to be able to do that moving forward, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And our centermen, I find, don't do a lot of centerman work. I find our wingers usually step in. I find Tkachuk and Stützle both play their game as a center, and it's I almost feel like Tierney and Norris, Norris in his situation, like we just talked about, he's better defensively. So I feel like he's kind of always floating at the top of the circles, ready to back check and whatnot. And Tierney, the same thing. So,
yeah, I know what you mean. They're kind of, it's almost like they're building from the wings out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that. I think that's why I think people envision Timmy at center. I think.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how he kind of finishes the year, but he's I won't say inconsistent, but he has off nights, right? Because he's a rookie in the NHL, that happens. But he's right up there in rookie scoring still. So I'm not sure. You made me think a little bit about him staying on the wing, not full time, but for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I agree. I think you do have to wait for your prospects to come.
Well, and that's the thing. We don't know what we're getting with Pinto in the pro, like we'd mentioned. No. We don't know what the future is for Logan Brown. There's so many potential centers that we have. Even J.C. Bodine, a lot of people are pretty low on him, and I'm higher than most. But I think he has potential to be a bottom six. So that's another center to throw in with the six we already have rolling right now. So I think either a lot of UFAs are being moved, which we assume, but we haven't really seen any of that happening yet. Or Stützle stays on the wing and we use Norris and Pinto as our 1-2.
Yeah, I think we'll see who they move out for UFAs. I hope they move Mike Riley because, like I mentioned, those charts, he's pretty high up on some of them.
Yep.
And I think you could get someone to buy high on him.
Yeah.
Again, another guy we got to talk about, Christian Wolanin, looked fantastic tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't see DJ putting Brandstrom and Wolanin in the same game if he's got Riley and Chabot up there, which is, hey, I understand not wanting to put him on his offside.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh, take Branson out. But he hasn't been bad. He's actually had a really good stretch of hockey, and
He has.
I don't want to throw good Brandstrom and Wolanin together defensively. I don't know how that would go.
Yeah.
And I would take Riley. I see we got a comment take Riley out, but then you need to trade him. That's what I'm saying. So I think after the deadline, we will see Wolanin and Brandstrom in at the same time for sure at some point.
I agree because I saw somebody tweet out today that, and it was almost a reminder for me that we traded a fifth for Mike Riley. So that's nothing. And what a service that he's given us for a 5th round pick.
It's a lot of minutes.
He's done almost more than any 5th round pick for us has that I can remember in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
At least that we drafted and used that pick for. But yeah, he could at least bring back a third right now. So.
No, agreed. It's weird. I'm not happy with the decor. Actually, if I was going to take someone out right now, it'd be Zaitsev. He's had a rough 3 games. Yeah. But the way they utilize him so much, he's not going to be taken out. The
argument people make when they were defending Chabot, I almost do want to give to Zaitsev as well. He is playing against Matthews and Marner and Tavares all night.
Yeah, but it's at the same time, it's why? He doesn't need to,
Well, yeah, but he is, and
yeah,
I think it makes him look worse. I've been a fan of Nikita Zaitsev for the most part. Although he was a -2 tonight.
Yeah, he was -2, -3 the night before, and -3 the night before. Ooh. So he can't handle those tough assignments. I think the way the Sens blue line is, it looks great.
Yeah.
Or the makeup seems great because they have, realistically, they've got one top 4 defenseman right now, and it's Chabot. The other ones are all good 5 to 6 guys, and they would be in a limited role. Like, how much better is Goodbranson now that he's playing 15 minutes a night instead of 20?
Yeah,
he looks so much better. Willanen and Brandstrom are being groomed to be that top 4 guy, and ideally they become that, but they aren't right now. But Willanen's a really good puck mover, I think, and that's where Zaitsev kind of struggles, and he's been struggling the last few weeks. He's back to old Nikita Zaitsev. So, I don't know. They're definitely not going to change anything for tomorrow night, but I'm not sure what DJ should do and who to take out. I think Riley's going to be moved soon. The deadline's on the 12th, right?
Yeah.
So,
and you got to assume that at least when a Canadian team is involved, we're only a week and a half out of the deadline, because you're not going to want to trade for a guy that doesn't play for 2 weeks after the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think if they go to the States, then they wouldn't have to. Yeah. I think the U.S. teams are a bit more handcuffed than the Canadian teams are. Like, in terms of making trades, like if they want to make a trade with a Canadian team, they got to do it now to give a guy away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if they want whatever they want to sell, they're under pressure to sell early. So
right.
Yeah.
Like if I'm looking at a team like San Jose, like all their expiring UFAs, if they want to use the Canadian teams as an outlet for that, like to Toronto or something, they're gonna have to do it now, because they're not gonna want a guy sitting in the hotel for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, in the past, in these last 3-4 trade deadlines, we've seen the Sens trade out a guy and get a roster player back.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen this time, because there's no point in letting a guy rot in a hotel for 2 weeks, and you don't need it. You've got players you can bring up. So, but it's Dorian, so who knows?
Yeah, and if it's a player, I could almost see, because with AHL guys, you can loan to a team. So I've been seeing a lot of people talking about if I don't know, for example, if we traded, well, that would be a bad example, but somebody in the AHL in an American team was traded to us. I've been seeing stuff being wrote about how they could just loan them to that AHL team for the rest of the season, so they don't have to waste their time quarantining and whatnot. So that could be used, but in terms of NHL players, there's no point.
Yeah, that would be the right thing to do, I would think. Yeah. But man, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a tame deadline this year.
Yeah, it'll be quiet.
It would be, if the Sens can get a couple seconds for Riley and Dzingel, if they're going to trade Dzingel, I'd be okay if they don't. But if they do, I see people saying we should re-sign Mike Riley. I highly disagree. I don't like watching him play. Zub settled him down. Same thing for him. Limited minutes, he looks better, but I don't want him. I don't think he has a spot on this team moving forward.
Yeah.
Just because it's mostly because he's taking a spot from Willanen or Brandstrom.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we didn't have Willanen, who's 25 now, I think, who hasn't played in 2 years, but we all like his offensive upside and whatnot. If we didn't have that guy sitting in our back pocket, sure, bring Riley back, switch him and Brandstrom in the lineup for next year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we gotta leave room for Willanen and Brandstrom.
And the other thing with Willanen too is he's got that weird contract thing where if he doesn't play the next 16 games or something, or plays 16 more games, then he's a UFA.
Yeah.
And if I'm Willanen, I'm walking if I'm a UFA.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many guys coming up, and it sounds like they're gonna, if they're, depending where they are in the draft order this year, it's a defensive heavy draft, and they're gonna be looking at another one probably. So.
Yeah, the only forwards I can think of off the top of my head is Beniers, Gunther, and potentially Ratty.
Johnson's one. I think.
Yeah, Johnson.
Yeah, there's only a few for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think he's pretty good in the media. He's pretty candid. So I think he said that, you're an idiot if you don't pay attention to the prospects that they're bringing up and stuff, and the left side being crowded. I think it was after they drafted Sanderson. So
yeah,
he knows, and that's why I think he'd walk if he's a UFA. So maybe that's why he's going to be in the lineup, and he should be. He's playing well.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so Drake Batherson also gets a pair of goals. We kind of just skipped right over that, but
yeah,
just 53 seconds apart and goal scorer goals.
He's just on fire.
He is. So that's his 10th and 11th goal, tying Brady Tkachuk again with first place on the team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know why this is saying it was his 6th, but yeah, it was his 11th. He looked. You could see in that second he wanted that hat trick. He had that chance.
Oh yeah.
That kind of partial breakaway that he missed the net on. They missed the net high at least 4 times. Stützle did it a couple times too. Just wide open looks where they miss. And but yeah, Batherson he was hungry for it, and that's fun. He's a key piece, I think, for the rebuild. I always say it, but he felt like the forgotten prospect, but he's not anymore. And people will get mad about how long people stay in the AHL and who's where, and like, oh, this guy shouldn't be playing over this guy and all that. But man, the way Batherson's path has kind of happened, he didn't play much like Pinto. The similar paths, I think, even though they're pretty different. But Batherson didn't play in the queue until he was 18.
Yeah,
which is unheard of for the fact that he's in the NHL right now. It's wild. Most NHL players end up starting when they're 16 years old, and then they play 2 years there and then get drafted and all that. So he just had, time to grow, almost like figuratively and literally to grow, and it's paying off. And I think they're doing the same thing with Formanton. I think Garriock said it in one of the intermissions a couple weeks ago. He said, like, Formanton will be up at some point, probably this year, just for a couple of games, but next season is his Batherson season.
Yeah.
Because that's the way their path is working. And Pinto was the same. He didn't take hockey seriously until he was 15 years old, which is just wild to me. He was playing house league when he was 14, I think.
Yeah.
And, he was the first pick in the second round in 2019, I think. I mean, I grew up playing in Ottawa, and a big player was Graham Clark growing up, right?
Yeah.
He was the guy coming out of Ottawa, and he was a 3rd round pick, but he was always, so it's just nuts that Pinto was able to do that. And now he's like, I don't know what that division is, the NCHC. I don't know how.
It's just one of the conferences in the NCAA.
Okay, yeah. But he's the player of the year. So what a trajectory. Like, it feels like the sky's the limit for him. So I would be okay if he spends the entire year in the AHL next year. Just give him time. So it takes time for all of them.
On top of that, he's the first unanimous decision for the NCHC Player of the Year.
That was a big part. Yeah. First unanimous decision. He was the best defensive forward as well as being the best forward and the best player. So good stuff for him.
So you mentioned, this is just kind of a quick segue into the last thing I wanted to mention before we get into our stars and whatnot. But you mentioned how Drake Batherson didn't play in the queue until he was 18. Well, Nikita Kucherov played in the queue his first season when he was 19. He played in the KHL and MHL over in Russia. But I didn't think about this before. The comparison between Stützle and Kucherov is mind-blowing.
I was going to mention that.
I didn't think of it whatsoever until it was said on the broadcast today, but just has the ability to make the most beautiful passes that the league has seen this season. Like, is just gorgeous passing, but can also sit at the hash marks and fire them top corner every time.
Yeah, and of all the comparisons we've heard, you hear a lot of Patrick Kane. Like, it was Gary Galley. We got to give him credit. He said the Kucherov, and it was the first time I'd seen it or heard it.
Yep.
But how similar are they? Like, I remember watching Kucherov. Just, I don't know why it never clicked. Like, Stützle is not a carbon copy. Like, he maybe a bit more agile. Like, Kucherov's really kind of looks like he's going slow out there.
Yeah.
But Stützle just, it's the same style and the same way they think the game. So that's a really good comparison, I think, in a high praise though.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, like I don't think it's that unrealistic because Kucherov only had 120 points in his first 150 games or something along those lines.
And then he had 129 one season.
Well, yeah, he had a monstrous season last or the year before last.
Yeah.
But I don't think because before that, 85 and 100 were his highest. So like that's not a super unrealistic comparison. Maybe not a 130 point season from him, but like just as a player style, like it's uncanny.
It's definitely an interesting one to look at. I also quickly wanted to mention Austin Watson. Guy just,
he's a sicko.
He is a sicko. He just dives for the puck to block it. It's crazy every single time.
I feel like every game he goes to the locker room in the third period because he blocked a huge clapper from the point.
And then he's right back on the bench, and two minutes later, he's nuts. He had a fight tonight, and I'll keep saying it. He just doesn't. Not that he doesn't get enough love, but he great addition for the team, and I don't care if he's signed for the next 3 years. It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to get into your third stars?
Sure. Yeah. All right. I'll go third star. I'm gonna go. Ooh. Yikes. Okay, I got them. I'm gonna go Timmy Stützle for my third star. I'm kind of toying between him and Batherson, but I mean, either one of them works. That pass kind of sets him apart. Like he's starting to kind of run the power play. It's running through him on that far side.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Shabbat said that in an interview last week, and we didn't really see it, but we're starting to see it now.
No, agreed. And man, he looked good tonight, and he had a new tape job. I don't know if people noticed that, but he doesn't have that weird tape job anymore. He just had normal white tape, so maybe that'll help him. It definitely seemed like he had better control of the puck tonight, so probably a factor. Next, my second star, I'm gonna go Brady Tkachuk. Last time we did them when the Oilers smoked the Sens, they're 7-1 last week. We talked about how McDavid and Draisaitl played like 24 and 25 minutes and stuff. Yeah. Tkachuk was out there for 22 minutes today.
Yeah, and we didn't even have a ton of power play.
No, 22 minutes as a forward is nuts. And not even just as a forward, but the way he plays.
Yeah.
He has 6 shots on goal, 4 hits, just wild.
Night in, night out too. Like
he's a fantasy machine.
Oh, I love having him.
Goal, assist, 6 shots, a block, and 4 hits, and a takeaway.
Like, it should have been 2 goals too. We didn't even mention that.
Yeah, I honestly, he shouldn't be on this list for his empty net skills.
Yeah,
that's bad. And I know what he's feeling. I've been in that position before where you're skating down, you're like, oh my god, don't miss this, and he just misses the net wide. That was tough.
Yeah.
If the Leafs tied it, oh my god, he'd be kicking. And him and Colin White had like a 2-on-1 kind of thing, and they just couldn't score.
Yeah. Mitch Marner did a great job defending there.
He did, yeah.
So
here's the thing, though. If you're Tkachuk, like, not that I want him to like fully wind up and rip it at Marner, but it's like
just shoot it, test
him, like just see how if he's willing to like lay in front of it. I don't think he'd block it like Austin Watson would.
Yeah,
But yeah, still great game from Tkachuk, and he's the leader, he's the captain. I think Gary Galley said it as well. Like he's going to be the captain of this team, and he should be. And then my first star, I got to go Joey Daccord. He was solid all game, and he kind of he sort of settles the play down in the defensive zone more than Murray does. I noticed.
Yep.
And I'd be completely fine if Daccord starts every single game.
Yeah.
From here on out, he battles, and he's fun to watch. And I was getting text. Apparently, he had like an emotional post game interview.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
Yeah, so check that out. But he's really good with the media. Every start he's had, he's in the media after, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm big on Daccord. I think he's going to be fun to watch moving forward. So he's my first.
For sure. And my third star, I'll give it to. There's a lot of people deserving tonight. I'll go Stützle for my third star. I can't really just leave him off this list after that game. And especially since we're kind of we didn't at all, but I'm going to pretend we recapped the last game as well and added in there. Just 2 beautiful passes over the last 2 games. So you can't really, nothing bad to say about him.
No.
My second star, I will give it to Drake Batherson. 2 goals. He was really hungry for that hat trick. But from the 10-minute mark of the second period to the 10-minute mark of the third period, I found is when he was really buzzing. But yeah, that's when the momentum shift was and whatnot. And he didn't get a ton of ice time at the end of the game. But
yeah.
And I'm not going to give Joey Decord my first star because it's a given that he deserves it. So I'm going to give it to Thomas Chabot. The guy played incredible tonight. And what a bounce back from the complaints that we've seen over the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And he played 29 minutes tonight, 12 seconds off of half the game. And he looked better than he has all season. He's made incredible offensive plays in the corners in the last 2 or 3 games, I'd say. And he's just playing so confidently, and I love to see it.
Yeah, people will say what they will about him defensively, and that's not going to change, I don't think. Just how much he plays and how offensive-minded he is. But this guy is a stud defenseman, and like I think he's made a lot of great strides this season. Compared to last year. I think this is a season high for him, ice time wise. I might be wrong, but he basically played that whole last sequence too. He played the last 5 minutes with Zaitsev. He's been phenomenal, and I think the last week in Edmonton he had his best games too. Or he was the best Senator on the ice in Edmonton. So hats off to him. He's, Tkachuk's going to be the captain of the team, but he's right up there just with the engine in terms of who drives the bus.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he's 6 points behind Victor Hedman for first in the league for defensemen. And Victor Hedman has all the offense in the world surrounding him, so that makes sense. But, like, he's only 2 points behind Morgan Riley. He's 2 points behind Neil Pionk, who's having an incredible season in Winnipeg. 4 points behind Quinn Hughes, who we all know is a stud. So
you're gonna see him tomorrow night. I think once that power play gets going a bit more, if it ever does, but they seem to be in a good groove right now. With a goal tonight and the game before, so if he'll rack up some points there for sure.
So who do you think needs to be better for next game?
I'm gonna go with Zaitsev, just based on the last few games. Like, as good as Chabot's been, I think it highlights how good Chabot's been because of how bad Zaitsev's been. He just, before, like earlier in the year, he was like confident with the puck on his stick. He wasn't making mistakes, and now every time he touches it, it's like he turns it over. He had 5 giveaways tonight. There were. Wow, I don't know how accurate. I'm still using ESPN, which is going to be more credible soon because they got a new deal with the NHL. But it's credited here that Goodbranson, Chabot, Paul, Brown, and Batherson all had giveaways, so that's 5 giveaways, and then Zaitsev had 5 of his own.
That's what Yahoo says as well.
So he contributed to more than 50% of the team's giveaways tonight. That's not ideal. And he just needs to be better with the puck on his stick.
Makes sense.
That's all I got.
I can't really argue with that at all, honestly. I'm gonna say Nick Paul, just because, and he looked good offensively and defensively at times. He just wasn't anything extra, and like I don't expect him to be, but he's not playing like he was at the beginning of the season.
Agreed.
Obviously, it's a really long season that doesn't take place over a very long time. So he's going to be tired and everything, whatever. But yeah, I think he can play better than he has been. So
he had a couple nice forechecks, but -2 isn't great. I think he was on the ice at the end there a lot too. Another, like, not honorable mention because it's who needs to be better, but Dadnaw's been pretty quiet.
The dishonorable mention.
Dishonorable. When he's quiet, I mean, I think he's on like a goal streak, or he was before the last game in Edmonton, but he's just like he's good on the power play. I agree with DJ when DJ said that he's like good at protecting the puck and getting the puck back for the other guys and stuff. But he's good with that stuff. But he's just so quiet. And there was one play actually where he tried to backhand pass it over to Batherson.
Yep.
And he was like below the hash marks in the slot with the puck on his stick. Like, you're a sniper, shoot the puck.
Yeah, he's got to shoot it there.
As many shots as Tkachuk has, I feel like Dadonov says, okay, I can't shoot then because we have too many or something.
Yeah.
That's got to be the only rationale behind it. So
yeah,
just need more from him offensively, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got anything else to add?
No, I got nothing.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for coming to watch. This has been not as fun as I thought it would be 5 minutes to go in the game, but yeah, at least the Leafs made it interesting, so gave us something to talk about.
And it's a regulation loss. No points for the Leafs, which is always good.
Big 4-point game in the North Division, so yeah. We'll see everybody tomorrow night for the game against the Canucks.